Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to do a simple crochet chain. I am using a 4mm crochet hook and a DK yarn, but you can use whatever you have at hand. To make things easier, make sure that you're not using a yarn that is too fine or a crochet hook that is too small. You'll first need to make a slip knot. Start by wrapping the yarn around your finger in the shape of an X, like so. Then slip your crochet hook under both loops on your finger, grab the first loop and pull it through the second loop. Remove your finger and pull on the strands of yarn to tighten the knot. Now you don't want to pull that knot too tight. You need to be able to slide it along the length of the hook nice and easily like this. Now grab the knot between the thumb and the middle finger of your yarn hand while holding on to your crochet hook with your other hand. Now it's quite important to create a taut section of yarn between your fingers. Now this is how I'm creating mine, but there are very different ways of doing this. I'm going to show you how I do mine. I slide the yarn between my ring finger and my pinky finger, and then wrap it around the back of my hand, bringing it back to the front and creating this taut section of yarn by lifting my forefinger. And this is what allows me to do my yarn overs. So that's the easiest way for me. Other people do it differently. You want to experiment, see what works for you. As long as you manage to get your yarn taut, anything goes really. Just experiment and find what is the most comfortable way for you. So once you've got a nice taut bit of yarn, you're going to use it to pull up a loop and make your first stitch. So you're doing that by doing a yarn over. A yarn over is basically the crochet hook moving to grab the yarn and wrapping itself around it. I'll show you again. See how I'm not moving my yarn at all? I'm just moving my crochet hook. Now your crochet hook goes under and then over. And that's a yarn over. Let's do it one more time. I move my crochet hook so that it wraps itself around the yarn. And that's a yarn over. Now, as you can see, I'm holding on to that slip knot on the hook between my thumb and my middle finger, because if I don't, this is what happens. It won't stay put. So you need to hold on to it. Let me show you again. I'm holding on to it securely like this. And I'm wrapping my crochet hook around the yarn. And now I'm going to pull my hook back, catching the yarn in its neck, as you can see, and pulling it through the loop on my hook. And I've just made a chain stitch. And I've also got a brand new loop on my hook, which is going to be used for the next stitch. Now you want to keep hold of that stitch for the next step. But before we carry on, let's have a closer look at that chain stitch we've done. This is what it looks like. It looks like a little V. And so we are now ready to carry on to the next stitch. So holding on to that stitch, you're going to yarn over again. So remember, that's the crochet hook wrapping itself around the yarn. and then sliding back, catching the yarn in its neck, pulling through the loop on the hook. And we now have 2 chain stitches. This is the slip knot down here. This is the first chain we made and the second one that we've just made. And so onto the third one. Wrap your crochet hook around the yarn, pull gently through the loop, and you want to go all the way along the shaft of the hook. You don't want to stay up here, because if you stay up here on the neck, what's going to happen is that your stitches are going to be too tight and it's going to be very difficult to work through them. If I do it now, I can't even do it this tight. See, it's so much harder. So much harder. However, if I go all the way back and leave some looseness to it, so much easier to go through it. It's important to have that movement like this. See how easily I can move my crochet hook through the loop without moving the yarn much. And this is what will create an even tension, and this is very important. See, here in the previous stitch I didn't have an even tension, so this stitch looks tighter. So I'm just going to undo that one. See, it was so tight I can't even undo it. So carrying on. Make sure that your new loop is not too tight, and the best way to do this is to slide it across the length of your hook. You need, while you're working a chain, you need to keep hold of the chain, because otherwise you're not going to be able to do anything with it, as you can see. So always keep hold of your chain whilst keeping your tension. And it's something that is quite tricky when you're just starting crochet. But once you're past that learning curve, it gets a lot easier, I promise. There you go. So I'm now carrying on with my chain. And I've got a little chain here. So that's it. That's the foundation for so many crochet projects. Chains, they can be as long or as short as you like, but they are extremely handy. As with anything, the key is to practice. Let me know how you get on in the comments. I'll see you soon in another video. Happy hooking, everyone!